Welcome to this short video on cost management for Red Hat OpenShift. Cost management for OpenShift allows you to get cost visibility across your entire OpenShift environment, regardless of whether your OpenShift environment is on-premises or running anywhere in the public cloud like AWS or Azure. It also allows you to get cost mapping, meaning it allows you to see how much are your clusters costing, how much are your nodes costing, how much are your application costing, where are these costs distributed across what projects, what regions, what organizations. It also allows you to effectively communicate that cost information back to your organization as well as your lines of business through being able to demonstrate some cost showback. Let's jump into the video. Here I'm logged into cloud.redhat.com, and once logged in, you'll see all these different tiles that are available. Cost management is available as a SaaS service offering. I will select the cost management tile, and this will launch me into the cost management for OpenShift service. Very quickly, I'm at the overview dashboard for OpenShift costs. Here I can see the overall OpenShift costs, and I can actually look through the historical data from previous days, and I can actually start to look into the future as well. And as I get into past today's date, you'll see I also have a forecast and projected costs as we continue to move throughout the month. One thing to note is we have last month information and this month information as well. I can also see the top projects in the right, as well as the cost associated with each of those projects. Switching to clusters, I can also see the cluster cost within my environment, and I can get more details by selecting all projects or all clusters. Scrolling down, I have additional information on usage within my environment. We'll be able to see more of that detail and associated cost as well. The Infrastructure tab allows me to see my OpenShift costs filtered by my cloud providers. So I can see my total OpenShift costs associated with all my cloud providers here, and if I want to, I can switch individually to each of the clouds and see the OpenShift cost associated with each. So I can see that. I can also see the historical cost as well as the projected cost for this month. I can also see the top services, top accounts, and the top regions. In addition, I can see additional usage information within that cloud and the associated costs as well. I can also do this for Azure as well. Moving to the OpenShift menu item on the left, here I can go in and filter and slice and dice the data within my environment any which way I want. At the moment, I can see the total OpenShift costs based on projects. But what if I want to look at it by cluster? So I can see how much each of the clusters is costing me. Or maybe I want to break that down by node and look at all the nodes and see how much each of the nodes is costing me. But what if I want to take a look at it from a node perspective, but maybe be able to look at my applications? So here are some of my applications. And now I can see for these applications what nodes they reside on and the associated cost on each of these individual nodes. Let's take a look at the data in a slightly different way now. Maybe based on project, I'd like to see what applications live in a specific project. So let's go to the tag, we'll go to applications. Let's take a look at some of those same applications, but now at a project level. So what projects do they reside in? And now I can see all the project names and the associated cost on the right with these projects as well. So again, here you can filter on the data any which way you want. At any point in time, you can select any of the rows individually, or I can select them all, and I can export that data as well, so I can leverage that for some reporting. I can export it from here. I can also export it in the far right, leveraging the ellipsis and then exporting the data from there as well. Great. Moving to the next menu item, Infrastructure. I can look at each of the clouds and do the same type of filtering I did before, but at the cloud level. So for example, AWS, we're already seeing accounts, but maybe I want to look at it from a service perspective. How much is each service costing me? And clearly here, for example, my EC2 service is costing me the most. I can look at it from a region or organization unit, or even by a tag as well. So we do leverage the tags. So one thing to note is tagging is very important when it comes to costing as well. Similarly, we can do the same thing here from an Azure perspective. So I can look at, where are my Azure resources? What regions do they reside in? Again, I can do additional filtering as desired here. Lastly, I'd like to touch on cost models. Cost models allows us to do things like mark up our services. If we want to pass some of that cost down to the lines of business, we can do things like marking up public cloud services. So you see here I have an AWS markup, an Azure markup, where I have a cost model to mark those services up. But from an on-prem perspective, I have to create cost models, and I have to decide what my rates are for each of the different service components. So I can add these rate cards for the services. So you can see here in this specific cost model, I have rate cards for monthly nodes, monthly storage, CPU, memory, cluster, persistent volume claims, as well as the associated cost. At any times, I can add additional ones here as well. Just provide a description, choose the metric, and choose the measurement, and then add the additional details as well as the rate. And this provides a very quick summary of the type of things that we can do in cost management for OpenShift.